Okay, everybody, we're going to get started. Looks like we're a little light in attendance this week, but that's okay. I'm sure the stragglers will join throughout the call here. So, um, no specific topics for this week, no presentations. Um, excuse me, just going to dive into some Q&A. Going to dive a little bit deeper into the topics that come up. Please feel free to stop us, ask questions. Of course, I will be calling out names just to reach out and see how everyone's doing. If there's anything we can assist with, and go from there. So before I introduce a couple topics, does anybody have any immediate questions, anything that they've been waiting patiently over the weekend to ask about on Monday? Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So, in any event, we went over some terrific topics last week, and it all really played into the topic of being the leader, right? Controlling the narrative, properly qualifying your clients, right? Not letting them drive, right? But rather you drive, right? Really, what it comes down to on any given call is we need to gather information in order to assess whether or not the call is worth our time, right? Before we get an application in, let alone submit an application to our lender, right? We don't want to spin wheels on something that's not going to make us money. Our lender certainly doesn't want to spin wheels on something that's not going to make them money or get their money out the door, right? So consider that when we're talking to our clients, right? For any of you that missed last week's call, you can go into the Facebook group, watch the recordings of each week's call, and see what you missed. But there's a lot of information around that topic. It was a great call last week. So with that being said, I'd love to hear from some of you today, see how the experience is going so far, see what topics come up, and we'll go from there. So I'm just going to pick out a couple names, and we'll go from there. Jack Freisner, I apologize if I pronounced your last name incorrectly. How's it going, Jack?
It's going pretty good. Just got on last week and working on the setting up my email blasts and going through all the templates and all that, trying to get that merged over.
Great.
So that's my goal for today, and then hopefully I can work on get further along on the training modules and get down to the marketing aspect of things.
Understood. Welcome aboard, Jack, again. And there are a couple options there in the training for you to get your email platform set up. One's a free option, one is paid. The latter is really the way you want to go ultimately, but there's trials and there's different things so you can test all this stuff out. But the point is the multi-platform approach works extremely well. When you combine email, you can buy social media messaging, as well as LinkedIn, Sales Navigator, and Duck Soup to automate virtually the whole process to the point where you're just responding to people who say, "Yes, I want money," is really the way to go, and you'll have endless leads coming your way, right? For real estate, business funding. A little bit different. You have to adjust your keywords and what have you, but it's in the training, and there's websites and resources you can reach out to find that. Anybody here who comes from Merchant Cash Advance and you know what it is to purchase leads and the gold, right? The live transfer leads and all of that. We don't do any of that stuff here, and it's eats in your ROI big time, and the organic approach is the way to go. There is a daily workload that you have, and it really doesn't take too long once you get used to the routine, but you just have a constant flow of leads, and that's what it's all about, right? And with a low cost means a high ROI, and that's what it's all about for any broker. So anyway, Jack, welcome aboard again. If you have any questions, you need any help in the setup process, please let us know.
All right, thanks. I do have one question.
Yeah.
With regards to the signature, there are two buttons available. One's for REI and one's for business lending.
Uh-huh.
Is it okay to have one signature with both buttons, or should we have a signature for each separate button?
Both buttons. You can put both buttons together. Not a problem.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Super.
You got it. All right. Terrific. Let's see. Urteza, how are you, Urteza? I don't think we've heard from you in a little while. Your microphone might be muted there, Urteza. Cortese might have stepped away. Crystal Staggs, how's things going? Any good deals on the table? I know you've been going through the advanced training.
Yeah, got one underway right now with Dave, and have a few things out that I'm following up on. It seems like I've got quite a bit of interest there, so trying to close those quotes so that way we can move them into the next phase of everything, and get something underway for them. So that's very exciting. One thing I wanted to point out, because the guys have always done a good job of talking about follow-up. So, when you automate stuff with your email and your social media, that's a huge help to you to free up time. And for me, one of the things that I overlooked probably in the beginning was, after I had those phone calls with those people, if they didn't have a property at that time, I followed back up with them, but maybe not as quickly as I should have. And so, follow-up email is always good, but I'm trying to make more of a conscious effort to be back on the phone with them and follow up that way, and or scheduling a time with them before we hang up. Hey, let's schedule another call in a week or so we can talk again. And trying to make those mini closes like that by getting them back on the phone and keeping me fresh in their mind.
That's key there, Crystal. Thank you for that. And follow up is everything. There's some really terrific tools out there that you can utilize to speed up the callback process. One is Phone Burner. It's an automated phone system. It is expensive. It's right on like $120 a month or something like that. It's fairly expensive as far as automation tools are concerned. But what it does do, for those of you who have a mature book, you have a lot of clients you're talking to, you're at a point where every day you're making tons of calls. That's when it's time to take on a cost like that. And what it does is it allows you to upload Microsoft Excel CSV files that will, upload first name, last name, email address, any other columns that you have, right? Business type, any specific notes that you've created. If you're using your client lists and your trackers the right way, you should have huge lists of names with detailed notes letting you know about each client. So as you click the next call, that comes right up for you, right? So you know exactly who you're talking to, the last time you spoke to them, all that information, and you're just fast. You have a voicemail button, so if the voicemail comes up, you just click the button, it goes right to the next call. It already leaves a pre-recorded voicemail, right? So these are very useful tools, but the client list and tracker is what it's all about, to speed up that process and to take good notes to your clients and to remind yourself of the dates and times you spoke, when the next time you're going to speak is, and then it's just a matter of doing a find function with that list to be able to find the appropriate people to speak with on any given day, right? You just do your find function, put in the date, and there they are. Comes right up, right? So once you get used to this routine, your follow-up becomes more and more simplified and easy to do, and really just routine. So good topic. Thanks for that, Crystal. Best of luck with your client. Hope that works out for you. Christopher, did you have something to add?
Yeah, I want to kind of chime in, maybe just kind of a different look at how you did it, because I do believe people, if you don't sort your data, it's going to get lost in the sauce. And find functions and all that is fine, but if you're, I don't think that's is going to be as effective as literally understanding that your list has to start getting split into smaller lists, and purposely in the beginning setting up, hey, I got my cold list. These are cold emails. I've never spoken with them. Then you should have a secondary list, which is your clients that reached out to you. Now you can go do all sales and tracker sheet. All you got to do is add another tab, but you should be transferring data from one list into a more appropriate list, because if you got to think about it, sales is a funnel. You start it from the top. The top of the funnel is real wide. The end of a funnel is real narrow. So you need to have lists that hit each level. So my cold email should be a list. My appointment should be a list. My confirmed appointment should be a list. My decline should be a list. And this way you could literally be jumping through your book because you know who's on what list. So my never talk to people, I know that as a list of people I never talk to. But people I talk to, I need to start breaking them down into smaller lists, because it's that refinement that's going to bring you into making money opportunities. Because like Crystal was saying, hey, I talked to someone today and they didn't have a property, or we couldn't get them a quote for whatever reason was a defect. That's that first relationship I'm building. And if I'm in contact with them sufficiently and I have them on a separate list and I'm aware of that list, I now know to reach back out to those people because this is a real estate game. Eventually, they're going to need some more money, and being there and staying on top of who those people are and identifying that list is where you're going to really start making money. Is when you can really refine it, break it down to smaller segments, and then prioritize going from from cold from hot to cold.
Indeed. Well said, Christopher.
Not only that,
Go
guys,
ahead,
but
please, Patrick.
utilize the CRM to your advantage. Whether you've got a customer in the system that, whether they funded or didn't fund, right there, you've got a tool whereby you set a task for yourself and, to follow up with them. If you've developed a rapport that you should have developed with these people, you'll have a general idea as to how often they go out and look for properties. So if you got one that, let's say you funded a deal, and you know that this person or this individual likes to flip a property every 60 days. Well, then you're going to want to put it's called a tickler, but a task in your CRM for 6 weeks out to touch base and follow up. Hey, Jack, home buyer, it's been a while since we talked. Hope things have went well with that last property. Some small talk and roll right into the next property. Same deal with the people that did not close a loan. Just because it didn't close now doesn't mean you can't close them down the road. And that CRM it's a built-in reminder. You set it and forget it, and next thing you know, you got an email reminder to reach out to Jack Skickyboo to talk about a property.
Absolutely. If you're managing the leads well, right? If you're stacking your gold, right? You should have an endless supply of clients to talk to and follow up with, and talk to again and follow up with again, right? Just because you don't do business with them today or even tomorrow doesn't mean you won't down the line, right? Very important. Good point there, Patrick. And just to give everyone a visual, especially our newcomers, your tracker and client list, this is what the client list look like, right? And you have your clients, the ones that have been funded, right? You're negotiating, right? Your dead deals. And if you wanted to add another row, it's just as simple as inserting another row. It's not a big deal, right? If you have your active leads, right? People you have recently spoke with, okay? You just drop them in here, their information. You drop notes in here, right? For an example, you contacted them on 3/9, right? They had a scheduled call back for a 3/7, right? Help with an application. Whatever it is, your find function, Control F on Windows or Command F on a Mac, right? You just put in the date and hit enter, and it's going to light up, and it's going to let you know on that given day who to reach out to. Now, to Christopher's point, right? You need to have more lists. So these are the active leads, people we recently spoke to. They're picking up our call, right? But what happens when they go cold? Put them in your cold list, right? You see the tabs at the bottom? Put them in your cold list. Right? And the same thing for your email blast list. Now, maybe you want to create another tab, right? These books are yours. Okay. So you want to create another tab. You have your cold leads here. Maybe you wanted to create, I don't know, a follow-up, right? You just right click the tab at the bottom, duplicate. Okay. When you duplicate, change the name to follow-up, right? And so on and so forth. And if you're not familiar with Google Sheets, if you're not familiar with, Microsoft Excel, become familiar. It's a very, very useful tool. But you can build these things out as much as you want and create more and more and more lists. It's very simple. And then when you create your CSV files, for your blasts, it's just a matter of just pulling the data from any given list and introducing it into your email software, right? Or phone burner, right? If you decide you want an auto dialer or anything like that. So all of these tools are very easy to use. Right? Same thing with HubSpot, right? You have a list of contacts, list of deals, an entire board showing you what's on your forecast, right? Make use of these tools. Make use of these tools because it will simplify the process for you. It will speed up the process for you. And you'll have a mature book of business. See, that's the difference between a successful broker and an unsuccessful broker. Right? The unsuccessful brokers, they're just chasing new business every single day and they forget about the past. They're just always hoping that the food that they're going to put on their plate is out in front of them. And that's not the reality. That's not how it works. You need business from 6 months ago, business from yesterday, business from today, business from tomorrow, and business from 6 months from now. right? You need to be pulling from your client lists, your referrals, your renewals, your HubSpot, so many different avenues, and it's the combination of all these things and using the multi-platform approach, right? You're doing your email blasts, you're scraping your emails from the Facebook groups, right? You're utilizing social media messaging both on Facebook and LinkedIn, excuse me. And while on the topic of LinkedIn, you're automating that process with Duck Soup and Sales Navigator. And with all of these things, everything I just mentioned, you should be honestly underwater with the amount of people that are talking to you and asking you about funding, to the point where you can't even get back to them all, right? When you consider the cost of that kind of setup and process compared to the astronomical cost of going out and buying leads, I mean, it's night and day, the difference. So it's a very, very useful skill that we're teaching you, and a routine that we're teaching you, that you could take with you really for the rest of your life as a broker, whatever you're selling, and just how to generate business, how to create a network, a sphere of influence for yourself. So terrific topic there.
Yeah, boy, I wish Matt V was here today. You know, for those of you that I've had the opportunity to talk to initially, to bring you in, you've all heard a short recording from Matthew Vasquez. Talked about, I'll tell you, this one guy. Who remembers that? This one guy. So the only reason, and back in December, Matthew funded 3 deals back to back, 2 on the same day and 1 a few days later, all 3 from the same investor. The only reason he was able to do that was, first and foremost, he plugged into our system and followed our guidance. But secondly, most importantly, he followed up. Listen, the key is indeed in the follow-up. And here's what you got to keep in mind. When do you stop reaching out to someone? Well, practically never. The only time you should ever stop reaching out to someone is when they come out and say, hey, you know what? Hey, Miguel, leave me alone. Go away. Take me off your list. That's when you stop reaching out, okay? Because I'll tell you, it might feel like you're being a fly in their soup or what have you. But, 3, 4, 5 months down the road, if you've continued your follow-up, somewhere down the line, someone's gonna reach back out to you and say, hey, you know what? I had this going on and something happened and fell through. Can you help me? Right. And there's your opportunity. So, yeah, when they, if either they buy from someone else or they die or they tell you to get lost, keep following up with them.
Absolutely. It's a great point. It's a great point. And the only thing I'll couple it with is proper qualification. Make sure the person that you're following up with is worth the follow-up, right? Specifically with real estate, they have cash in the bank. They have experience, right? They're regularly doing business. They have a property in mind. They're an active investor, right? Same thing with business funding. Make sure they actually own a business. They're grossing a healthy amount a month, right? That they're not just a startup, right? That they're not leveraging somebody else's business and trying to buy out that business and looking for you to buy it for them, and then they can. But that's not the kind of people you want to be talking to. So be careful in that regard. But once you've qualified them as somebody that you want to be speaking to, absolutely 100% never take them off your list. And maybe they stop picking up your phone call, right? So maybe they shouldn't be a weekly phone call for you or whatever, but it doesn't mean you can't email blast them. Doesn't mean you can't text message them. Doesn't mean maybe you just don't wait a few weeks and then call them again. Maybe they forget your number. And hey, for any of you who are looking for a key platform to help you mask your phone number or call from a different area code because maybe you think somebody's just tired of your call, there's a great app out there called Burner. And I'll leave it there, but any seasoned broker will tell you that app's their best friend. Absolutely. So with that being said, terrific topic there. Terrific topic and a lot of good information all around. So nobody has anything else to add on in that regard. Let's dive into the next one. So let me see here. Lori Kemmer. How's it going, Lori?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Doing well. So how's things going for you, Lori? Anything we can help with? Any challenges you've recently come up against and either had a struggle dealing with or you were able to overcome?
No, I'm just still trying to find my footing.
Okay.
Follow up, I liked the suggestion on breaking up my active files into more spreadsheets. I think that'll be really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are days I feel like I'm missing follow-ups, so
Mm-hmm.
that'll be helpful. But right now, it's just a lot of people that I've been talking to and following up with. The market's just really active and they're not finding anything, or they're being beat out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Being beat out meaning they're losing the bid on a property.
Correct.
Gotcha. Makes sense. So, got
But
to.
you know what you could do in that example, when they're getting beat out of a thing, where if time is their issue, then it's like it's more so why you need to already have an established relationship. We really should be in that process of starting getting your paperwork together. Let's create the paperwork so this way, when something happens, we can be right on it, and you're not wasting days trying to find out how a deal's going to be, how a deal would work out. So you could turn that opportunity into, now you're getting them many commitments. You know, if you can get them to start sending you over, you know, some of their corporate documents and start building that profile for them, you could then be ready to place them as soon as they're ready to go. You know, I already know you're well vetted. I see your season. Why don't we get your paperwork together so this way, when you're ready to pull the trigger, I can get you right in the bank, and we won't lose those days going back and forth looking for an offer when we already know what, you know, we already have a plan of attack.
Okay.
And level that up one more step, and point them in the direction of a line of exposure line of credit, rather, so that you're going to set this investor up in such a way that they're able to make their offers out there confidently, knowing that A, there's going to be a fast closing, and B, they're not going to get snagged at the closing table.
Absolutely. Good point. We do have a multitude of affiliates who are doing just that and setting their clients up, that they know, for the ones that they know they can get approved, setting them up with a line of credit so they're ready to go. So when they do finally find that property, it's already our deal, right? And that's the idea. So something you may want to look into there, Lori. But there's certainly plenty of clients out there ready to be funded. It's just a matter of keeping up with your daily outreach and staying top of mind with your clients. And absolutely. So anything we can do to help you in that regard, please let us know.
Okay. Thanks.
You got it, Lori. Thank you. Okay. Taser, are you back with us here? Okay, fair enough.
Doesn't he work? I think, was he one that worked and then he kind of listens in, but he's usually at his job.
It's possible.
Yeah, he works every day, so he's listening in from his job.
Understood. Okay, fair enough. Let's see.
See, guys, we pay attention.
All right. Charlie Messer, how we doing, Charlie?
Hey guys, how are you?
Hey, doing well. How you doing?
Pretty good. Better than the last time. Getting some traction.
Good.
I do the pre-qualification, interview, and now it's just a matter of getting them to get on and do the questionnaire. But I do have some things in the pipeline. I have a small construction loan that David's working on, and there's just delays on the lender's end and delays on the builder's end, but that's okay.
It happens, right?
Yeah, I honestly don't get emotionally involved in any of this. It's either going to happen or it's not, and that's basically it. I'm an introducer. If they want to get it done, they'll get it done.
Right.
I am using primarily right now, and I'm just kind of overwhelmed. Not overwhelmed, that's the wrong word. I'm busy with it. Mm-hmm. That is LinkedIn. I'm doing the duck soup. I do 75, what do you call it?
Right.
Request connect a day. Yeah, connections. And, out of that, I'm getting a lot of connections. Great. And then I reach out either, I use one of two platforms. I use either the email set, so I'll either go to the Sales Navigator and check out their email, and I've kind of customized one of the things that is on that that the series of emails that you send out, because I read that it's like, when you're doing the LinkedIn, you're primarily trying to convert over to an email.
Right.
But then, if I do, just for numbers' sake, I'll do the messenger. And what I have found recently, and it's really working, and if I leave with this, is I'll send an email, but then I'll also send a messenger saying, hey, listen, I just sent you an email kind of setting forth, my capabilities in and around real estate investment funding. Open it up and let's talk soon. And that way, at least, and I get a couple a week where it's like, oh, what email should I be looking out for? Because these people are getting if they're like me, they're getting 100 plus emails a day.
Right.
And the response rate has gone up significantly. I haven't run the numbers yet. I would love to sit down. I'm trying to do a good job of accurately recording because, I remember what you guys said is, data.
Indeed.
Without data, you can't see what you're doing right and wrong. And so hopefully, and I'll end with this, hopefully I will have enough data by the end of March and I can sit down with you and Dave and whoever else, Sebastian, and say, okay, what am I doing right and wrong?
Absolutely. Looking forward to that call. Just put it up on the calendar. I'll be there. But I can definitely tell you, you're on the right track for sure. And you're using the multi-platform approach, which is key. And what I like to hear too is that you're validating your emails and you're giving your clients a heads up with the emails in the message, which is very important, right? I mean, if you're talking to somebody, if somebody accepts your connection on LinkedIn, right? And you ask them a few basic qualifying questions to make sure that there's somebody you want to talk to right away. Okay, great. I'm going to send my capabilities over now. I just shot an email over. Subject says this. Please confirm that you received it, right? Letting them know that the email just went out the door, letting them know that they have it and what the subject line is so they can sift through that mess of emails that they get every day and find yours, right? Then once they've confirmed that they've received it, they're likely going to have a question. That's when you send your follow-up email. I understand you may have some questions. Let's hop on the phone with my team leader, blah, 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 right? On top of that, you're asking for the phone number right away, right? So, oh, you got the email. You have questions. Terrific. What's your phone number? Right? Let's hop on the phone. Let's get the ball rolling. But you can do that in your messages. And really, our goal is to basically qualify, gather the email address, gather the phone number. And if it's worth our time, we get to the next phase, right? Which is the phone call conversation, the application, right? And that's what you're doing each and every time. And you really can once you have that routine down and the copy and paste function down, I mean, you can get a lot of applications. I mean, we've had people get nearly 50 applications in a month doing this stuff. So it's definitely there, I mean, you want to make sure you have sharp teeth on the qualifying side, but you're on the right track, that's for sure.
Yeah, I just want to see, I mean, at some point, I need to convert this activity into application. Like Christopher was saying, I think it was Christopher, it's a funnel. And I understand that funnel concept. And it seems like I'm putting a lot in, but the applications, which should be somewhere in the middle of the funnel or, that's just not happening. And so somewhere there's a breakdown. And I don't know where that is. So I do have one other question, and that is, this is all about lead generation. And I mentioned this to someone I work with that helps me on my, business coach type of person. And it's like, okay, so they keep saying at ION, it's like, right now we're, basically what I'm doing is lead generation. I'm not learning brokering yet. And I haven't gotten past that point. I don't feel like I'm ready to learn brokering. But so that leads me into this question. If this is lead generation, I've started using those spreadsheets, the Excel files.
Yeah, your tracker and client lists.
Yeah. So at what point do you think, or do you use? I know everyone's different, but at point do you actually say, "Hey, this is a hot lead"? Is it when someone responds and says, "Hey, send me your product information"?
Yeah, that'd be a warm lead. I mean,
Yeah.
Anybody that engages with me, understand cold email. They don't know me from. I'm brand new. I'm just an IP address, an email address. Anybody that's willing to talk with me, book an appointment on my calendar, is now a warm lead. And then
Okay.
so that's a new book. These are my warm clients. So if
Yeah.
you think about a process, every day I'm doing cold email blasts to build up a warm list, to build up a hot list to close deals.
Right.
So once I've done this for a sufficient amount of time, it's not about the lead generation anymore because I have a lot of data. Because then I'll be sorting, okay, I know I'm always putting new cold leads in, but what I'm going to be working on primarily would be my warmer clients and my hotter clients would be most of my focus. So my day kind of changes a little bit. My automation through the cold outreach is always going to happen, but my follow-up is going to be with warm and hot clients. And that's when you start getting consistency. Um, as far as learning how to broker, I don't know if you might not have seen the post that we've done, but we've done a lot of new trainings, especially with real estate. And understand that even though it says real estate, the same concept will work for business funding. It's an asset class. It's a secure type of funding against a property, but it could be equipment. It could be the same thing. But if you look at those trainings, we break down what's a basic ARV loan. We break down what's long-term financing looks like. So there's a lot of information that gives you the overall understanding of what's required to get a deal done. So if you go through the PowerPoints that are in your training, I think from 3, 4, and 5, you have enough information right there you have enough information there that you are smarter than 90% of the people that you're going to be speaking to, just because of the access to that information. So go back and look at your training and understand that. Go back and look at your product board and understand the overall high level concept of what it requires for different factions of real estate funding or financing.
Absolutely.
Don't be worried about, oh, well, the rate said it's 8.5, or don't worry about the rate. Overall, look at the broad picture. The broad picture is these are the capacities that we can have, and these are the ranges that we have. So when I'm speaking with someone, I'm always speaking in ranges and asking more specific questions to get more direct information, and then telling them, look, let me gather this information, let me gather some intel, let me do my homework, come back and present you with what could be, and come back with some solutions, and we can discuss whether those are the right solutions for you for us to move forward. Instead of trying to be like, I'm the master of all and I'm just going to wow you with all I know. No one cares about what you know. They care about what they want to get done. And the only way you're going to know what they want to get done is by understanding what they need. And that's by asking those questions and then coming back with being prepared, doing your homework, doing your research, and be able to answer specific questions based off the conversation you had with them, instead of trying to shoot off the gun and act like you know everything about everything when literally you need to take the time to make sure you have your ducks lined up in a row.
Absolutely, and I do want to speak to that a bit more. But Charlie, does that make sense? Did you? I saw you cue your mic once or twice. Did you have something else you wanted to ask on that topic?
No, actually, I just wanted to clarify. I know the material's there.
Mhm.
It's on me. I haven't dived down into it. So
Okay, no worries.
hey,
Charlie.
thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
And then just
If I
one
may.
side note, when we were talking about programs, so all right, so I'm gonna go away from like, look, you guys got to be willing to spend a little bit of money, and we're gonna tell you where you can put money in that's going to give you a return on investment. So there is Duck Soup. We know that basic Duck Soup is about $15, but it doesn't automate the follow-up messages. So I'm looking at another program that's out there that does allow you to do this. Price point is about $49 a month. There's a 2-week trial. I'm getting ready to start using it myself. It's called WeedConnect.io. And so basically it will, if you're using Sales Navigator already, it will basically, if you go take a look at it, it will give you the ability now to set up the automated messages to do your outreach. It will also do auto invites when people don't respond to your invites in a timely fashion. Because one of the tricks about LinkedIn is that if you have too many unanswered invites, you start losing quality. So again, look for tools that are going to give you a return on investment, that are going to free up time, that are going to be able to automate some of the manual tasks that will take you away from doing income producing tasks. So again, you can look at it. It's called we-connect.io. It's $49 a month. It's a 2-week free trial. But if someone is brand new, hasn't done a Sales Navigator yet, Sales Navigator will give you 1 month free. Look at the program. You can get Sales Navigator for a month for free. You can jump onto this program for 2 weeks and utilize it to scrape some data and jumpstart your prospecting, automate some portions of it. And now all of a sudden that $50, $100, $200, $300, whatever you need to invest to automate your business is going to give you that return, and that will hopefully help you not feel so overwhelmed. You will be overwhelmed trying to do it manually. It's just a lot of stuff.
No question.
But you got to be
about that.
willing to put your money where your mouth is, invest in your business, and then look at what your ROI is. And again, this isn't McDonald's, this isn't microwave. Sometimes you have to budget out. Hey, for my next quarter, I'm going to allocate a certain dollar amount towards tools that are going to help me be successful. Because trying to penny pinch is going to drag that process out over a longer period of time. So kind of figure out in your mind, hey, I know I got to put a little bit of a budget together. Let me find the right tools, and then let those tools, go to work for you. Think of it as like a mini VA. Let the automation let the AIs work, and now you can spend more time booking appointments and doing consults.
Absolutely. Patrick, you had something you want to say there?
Yeah, real quick, Christopher, do me a favor and type in the name of that app in the chat, please. There's a couple members that are asking for it.
In there.
Awesome. So yeah, I just wanted to talk to a couple, like 3 things real quick that Charlie brought up. First and foremost, about how you feel like you're not learning brokering. I love the fact that how you follow that up with, it's on me, because you're exactly right. It is on you. We've got all the resources there. But don't discount what you are doing right now in the beginning stages, because what you're involved in is the most important aspect, the second most important, or the first most important aspect of this business. It is what has caused many to either bail or fail, and that is generating your own lead flow. In the process of generating your lead flow, you've got your coaches and your mentors to lean on, to help engage in the conversations, and then you tap into the resources that you have available, in the back office, Ion Success Tools, to learn other aspects of the brokering business. But don't discount what you're doing, in the early stages here, Charlie, because you are indeed leagues ahead anybody else that's out there trying to start this, in this business on their own. The second thing, when is a lead a good lead? Bottom line is if you come across someone that has a need and they meet the basic criteria, the basic qualification criteria, you've got a moral and ethical and professional obligation to provide them with a solution. So when is a good lead a good lead? When they've got the need and they're qualified. And then lastly, I love the fact that you said that you don't get emotionally involved. Folks, this is very important, and not to be confused with enthusiasm. So you want to maintain a control, a certain level, what I call controlled enthusiasm in all of your conversations. Don't get emotionally involved. Somebody contacts you, and they want a, $1.5 million, real estate deal. It's a lot of zeros, right? But that's all it is zeros. Think of it in a binary sense. It's ones and zeros, and there's nothing to get excited about until you get to cash the commission check.
Absolutely.
So controlled enthusiasm, not to be confused with emotions. And Charlie nailed it. He doesn't get emotionally involved, and you stay neutral, and just move the deal forward. And when you cash that check, then you can get excited, and we'll get excited for you.
Indeed. Well said, Patrick. Don't count your chickens until they hatch, right, everybody? So, listen, I do want to wrap up with a couple thoughts on this, but we do have to end the call after that this week. But with that being said, some final notes on this topic. Brokering begins with lead gen, and the reason it begins with lead gen is because if you're not generating leads, I see your raised hand, Miguel. If you're not generating leads, you're buying them. And if you're buying them, you're already out of business, because frankly, it's just too damn expensive to keep any broker going. I used to spend $6,000 a month on leads. The old firm I worked at, we were spending anywhere from $25,000 plus a month on leads. I mean, it was obscene before I learned how to organically generate it and cut all that cost out. So very, very important. As far as the journey here is concerned, yes, you start with lead generation, but even in the basic training, you're learning basic brokering skills. You're learning about our products. You're learning about these different things. Now, if you pay attention to your milestones in your client list and tracker, you're going to see what needs to be completed in order for you to unlock advanced training. And in the advanced training is where we dive into more of the specifics, the brokering duties, the shopping of files, the underwriting of files, how we communicate with the lender and the client, how we deliver a quote, and all of these things. There's a natural progression and journey to get to where you want to be and to learn all this stuff. But you cannot skip the process, right? We just have to go through it. We have to check all of those boxes. And if you can just stay the course and get through that, you will reach a level that many, many, many brokers never reach, because you'll have the experience, the knowledge, the network, the support, all the things it takes to be successful, right? But it doesn't come overnight, and you can't, it's not leaps and bounds, right? You got to walk the path. Very, very important stuff. So if you're confused about that journey and how it looks and what it looks like, please reach out to your team leader. Please ask us, here in the leadership team on the coaching calls, in the Facebook group, wherever. We'll be happy to explain further or elaborate further so that you have a good understanding of what it looks like, because there's a lot to learn here and a terrific education. And if you have an appetite for the information and you're able to take it in a segmented way, and you have the right direction, there's no reason for you to at any point to feel like you're stuck or you've reached a limit or anything like that, because it's the real McCoy here. We have the full picture, so it's just a matter of staying the course. I'll say also that in regard to WeConnect.io, training will be coming on that. So for now, right, if you want to try it on your own, but as Christopher said, we're just getting a look at that now. So we don't have any content for you to chew on at this time on that. And with that being said, I think Christopher.
Yeah, we're ahead of the curve. So
there you go.
Like if you look at some of the posts I put online, like the email tracking, the capabilities in Streak. Again, to be successful in business, you have to be a student of your craft. And so when I see things, or I'm in different groups and I hear stuff, I start looking at stuff. And some of these are going to be personal commitments. There are a ton of programs out there, like literally a ton.
Yeah.
And so you have to kind of be willing to kind of search and say, okay, well, when you're looking at your business, where am I deficient at it? What do I need to do to kind of offset that efficiency? If I'm getting to the point where data is becoming too massive, too cumbersome, I need to now find tools that will help me sort and manage that data. And I got to be willing to invest and learn how to implement those situations. That's the only way you're going to grow. Kind of take your frustrations and start looking for solutions, because what happens is, if you take your frustrations and then apply it to your phone calls, you are now seeing eye to eye with your business owner. You know what? As a business owner myself, I struggle in some of these same areas, and these are some of the solutions I've been able to come up with. And you're now turning and you're on their side of the table. You're seeing eye to eye with them, and now you're building rapport. So understand, your frustrations are the same frustrations that a small business owner is having. You just have the ability, and you're in the right place at the right time. Is that you have a community that you're not doing this all on your own. And this is the reason why I think a lot of people join ION, because anybody could be an independent ISO, but you wanted that community. You wanted to have someone that could bounce off ideas and test new things out. So don't be afraid to take some of that anxiety and then utilize that in your conversations moving forward, because your new business owners, your new real estate investors, your experienced investors have these same issues and problems. And if you can come over it with that understanding that, hey, I understand what you're going through, that's going to get them closer to working with you. Indeed. So again, a lot of these things are interrelated. It's not one individual piece. It's like we show you concepts, but the way you become a black belt is by taking all the basic techniques, and then coming up with new combinations. So that's what I wanted to leave out with.
Well said, Christopher. Thank you. Makes terrific sense. Absolutely. With that being said, we are going to wrap up the call. I do know that, Miguel, I saw you had raised your hand. You had a question. I'll ask that you ask that question in the Facebook group, or you can reach out to your team leader. We do have to wrap up the call and jump to another one. So with that being said, thank you, everybody. Have a terrific week. Go get some deals. Good luck with the ones that are currently in your pipeline. And I'll record this and get it up in the Facebook group as soon as I can. Everybody, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much.